Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Ken's Cuts. In this episode, we've got a couple things we have to get going on. I haven't had much time in the Woodyard the last couple of weeks, and I'm trying to follow Russ up at Willie's Firewood, where he says a little bit every day goes a long way. I love that motto. I love that saying. Unfortunately, life has had its turmoils through the end of October and November, wreaking havoc on our family, so I haven't been able to do much. But I've got a future road trip planned for this monster behind me, the Eastonmade AXIS. I'm going to be going to the Poconos to help a friend split some wood over the Christmas break, and I'm going to need to be ready. In a recent episode, one of my subscribers, Carol, came and brought some thin cut oak, and we had stacked it here where I'm kneeling right now. It was on 2 pallets. I've cut a bunch of it down to make some mini splits for tabletop stoves. I've got quite a few crates of those ready to go in case the phone rings. But what I have here behind me is a partial load of some northern pecan that I got from a dear friend. He and I share a wood service, a tree service, and he had gotten a bunch of this pecan, and it wasn't really selling, and I've got people that are very interested in it. So I bought it from him, brought it over here, and in a hurry one weekend just threw it on a pallet, 2 pallets here. It's maybe a 1/6 of a cord. The rest of it's around the corner off the right side of the camera. I put a bunch of it up on a pallet, and this stuff I want to break down and have it ready for smoking splits. And obviously with the AXIS behind it, and this is my means of egress in and out of the Woodyard, this pecan's got to go. So right now it's about 34 degrees, pretty blustery. Lord knows what this audio is going to sound like. I've got the fuzzy on, I've got the noise canceling turned way up on the Saramonic, so we'll see what happens. And I'll have to listen to it on the playback, but we're going to make a go of this. The feels like temperature is about 19, and I had the AXIS warming up. I turned it off just to do this quick intro. So let me get this fired back up, get the wheelbarrow in place. I've got some pallets on the other side that I'm going to stack this stuff on once I crack it down in 2 or 3 pieces each. Some of them are a little long. I may not even touch those, but anything that's worthy of smoking length we'll be cutting down. And then the first thing I did, I didn't have the camera running, was to move these 2 partial pallets of the thin cut oak around the corner. Got that restacked so I can show a couple pictures of that. It was here. So now it's over here. We've got about 1/3 of a cord here stacked up between these 2 uprights, between the pallets. And it's a full stack in the back and a half stack in the front. And this is where it's going to remain until it gets put through the chop saw and whittled down to make tabletop wood splits. And I'm sure in the spring that's really going to take off for us. I don't know how many people are sitting outside when the feels like temperature is 20 degrees, but I've got 4 or 5 crates of it put together in the shed, keeping it dry just in case, because we do have some crazies that are calling for wood. But it's getting to be that time of the year. It's the first full weekend in December, and I'm going to go get the AXIS warmed up. We're going to start busting through that pecan, and then I've got a pallet over here that I'm going to put it on. Here in the foreground is a big monster pile of beech that was cut in September. I've got some oak here. I've got a barrel full of scraps, and I've got some Norway maple here that was split in October. So we've got little partial pallets of a lot of different stuff. Everything's labeled, everything's dated, so I know exactly when it was cut, and it can sit here for the winter and season. So let's crank up the AXIS and I'll get right back to you. Actually, guys, the first thing I'm going to do is fulfill a promise that I made to one of my smoking wood customers. He saw my short that I posted last week. Actually, it was the middle of this week, about bringing this mulberry in And he said he was intrigued. He wanted to try it. I'm going to get these pieces off the ground. And I said, Jerry, that stuff's not going to be ready till the spring. But I do have some mulberry. And I put together a couple bundles for him. They weren't my prettiest because the mulberry wood that I had that was seasoned, that was probably 1.5 years old, was from the base of the trunk of the tree. And it was very twisty. And a lot of it, when you split it up, it breaks into crazy pieces, kind of like this. And mulberries, very hard, very brittle, burns hot. So Jerry was here. My last video that I did, I showed pictures of the 2 bundles that Jerry picked up. And he said, hey, if you've got any offcuts or small pieces, I want to try some skinnier, smaller pieces. He did some tests. He ran some chicken through one of his smokers. And he said, my God, that stuff burns hot. And I had warned him that you're not going to need much on the bed of charcoal. If you put too much mulberry in, the temperatures are going to go crazy. So I said, hey, you know what? I've got a bunch of scraps. I've got it in, these veggie sized, oversized crates. And I said, let me put some of this through the machine, break it down a little bit, because clearly that's bigger than a chunk. I mean, that's a behemoth as I drop it on the ground. Oh, my fingers are just not working today, guys. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of pick through this. A lot of these pieces are small, that he could just lay in his drum smokers or his offset smokers. He's got a couple hasty bake, what they call over-unders, where your meat is above and your flame is underneath, similar to a charcoal grill, but you can lower the coals down and run it really slow, and it's called an over-under. Anyway, that's what he's looking to use a lot of this for. So, Jerry, if you're watching, we're going to break some of this down for you, buddy, and toss it back into a crate, and he'll be by and pick it up. And he's got a little favor he's going to do for me, so I told him there will be no money exchanged. He's helping me with something, so I'll help him with something, and just kind of pass it forward. And it's, obviously something I'm not doing with this, but pieces like this that are tall and skinny, I'm just going to crack them, because the last thing you want to try and do is split this that's completely seasoned, dry, rock hard with a hatchet or something, because it's a futile effort to try and do. So let me warm up the machine and we'll be right back. All right, guys, like I said, some of these small pieces are just going to go in the crate as they are. Simple little splinters of pieces. He's going to love these, but some of it's a little bit big. We'll crack them down. Gotta read the grain. You can hear the machine when it pops. This stuff is violent when it breaks. Not sure what we're going to do here. Here we go. There we go. Got them cracked in half. A lot of these are ideal, perfect pieces. Nothing in the Woodyard goes to waste. You find a use for most of it. And it's crazy, the color. It turns to a burnt red, and then inside, when the air, it's yellow. And that's how it seasons when it turns. So that's a fresh split. Pretty cool, the color. I guess the AXIS needs fuel. Okay. I thought the AXIS had plenty of fuel. As we polished off that crate. Jerry, if you're watching, this one's for you, buddy. All right, guys, we got fuel in the machine. Got a bunch of pecan laid up here. We're just gonna take these and crack them down. This pecan's pretty dense, guys, and because it's seasoned, the cells are closing down, and you have to push through the wood most of the way on some of them, not all, just some of them. Doesn't always want to release. Depends on the grain and how stringy they are. But this trunk wood is pretty straight. The grain's pretty good. I got some limb wood from this same tree from my buddy. And the limb wood is very twisty, very stringy. I guess that's just the characteristic of being a branch needing to have the strength. So wood grows completely different. This stuff that came from the trunk, as you can see, it's pretty straight grain. The bark has fallen off, so that's a good sign. If the bark holds on the pecan, you can leave it. You can cook with it. It sweetens the smoke. So I educate the customers and I let them know. Anybody that wants to either try it or has used it and knows about it, I tell them that some of the splits are holding bark. Majority of the customers are okay with it. have some that are twisty like this, and I just don't know if it's going to break. That's not a very good smoking split. This one's okay. Sure about this one, guys. Yeah. All right, guys, so that one lift table made literally one wheelbarrow full. That's about my ratio. One work table basically fills the wheelbarrow on most of my splits. And as you can see, this stuff is beautiful now. Perfect size. Pizza oven, smokers, anything like that, anything people need where they want a hot fire or they want a little bit of spice, a little bit of sweet. This pecan is the way to go. So I'm not going to bore you with the stacking. And when I come back for the next rounds, we'll put you in time lapse real quick. And I've probably got 2 or 3 more lift tables worth to clear off this pecan and get it stacked with the smoking size credentials that I like, because the way it was just too big. So I've got wood over there that I can use for somebody for a stove if they want a half a cord to heat with, because pecan is 4 million BTUs per cord hotter than red oak, believe it or not. So if somebody reaches out desperate and they want heating wood and they're willing to accept a half cord delivery, I've got pecan that will work beautifully in a stove because they're bigger splits and it burns really hot. So that's always an option, because I bought close to a full cord from my buddy, and I don't know how much of that I'm going to sell as smoking wood, but the rest of it's over there. If I need to cut into it to make more smoking splits in the spring, I absolutely will. But if the phone rings and somebody needs heat, I'll gladly sell a half a cord at my premium price, of course. So let me go get this stacked and we'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks, guys. that's about going to do it for this one. I had 4 work tables worth of pecan and 4 or 5 wheelbarrows full of those pecan splits. That last segment that I did was actually the last literal segment of splitting because the temperatures are so cold that my phone shut off. And when I turned it back on, it said it was at 5%. So I left it off, went and got the external battery, and I let it charge while I was doing some splitting in between. And then that last segment, I kind of put you in a fast forward time lapse. Didn't want to bore you. And as you can see behind me, the pallets are off the ground. There's the gas can. Thank God I had a gallon of gas in the shed. Was able to keep going. So we're going to wrap this one up for today. So guys, if you like this kind of content, please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, the like button, share it with your friends, anybody that's interested in barbecue, smoking wood, pizza ovens, and click that bell icon and you'll be notified of a future upload. This will be Sunday's video, the 8th, and that's about going to do it for this one. So, as I always say, get outside, get cutting if you can, if it's warm enough. And as I said in my intro, as Russ always says, a little bit every day goes a long way. I don't mean to steal his thunder, but I like that motto. And splitting all this pecan down was something that I had to do. It's been on my mind. And the other motto that I really like is that you can make big fires from small splits, but you can't make small fires from big splits. And when guys are barbecuing, they don't need big fires. Jerry actually mentioned that to me the last time he was here about making big fires from small splits. And I totally agree. So again, another shout out to Jerry. I'm going to steal your little phrase there. And that's going to do it for this one. So take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next Sunday. Till next time, have a good one.